I want to share a little bit about why I decided to become a part of the Spiral School and join Dane and Zephyria and the team and the amazing community of practitioners in the Spiral. For those of you who don't know me really well, like I've been in business for a long time. I started businesses when I was like 5, 6 years old, and I started my tech business when I was 15 years old, and there's videos on YouTube and that kind of thing about that. But I've throughout my business journey kind of like always desired growing a successful business and being a successful entrepreneur myself. That's been my life passion. And I kind of got to the point where in my mid to late 20s, I kind of like semi-retired. Like the business was running well enough that I'd tick the boxes of my personal income goals that I wanted to tick. And I had location independence and time independence and, the freedom of a successful business. And after I ticked that box, I kind of went, all right, cool. That thing's kind of done. Like Pete's life goal has been ticked off. And so for the last 5 years, I've been on a real journey of discovering and working on other areas of my life outside of business. I haven't shared much about this kind of publicly on my page or to family, but one of my secret weapons in my business success and in my personal development journey as well has been a process called the Spiral. It's something that was created by Dane Thomas, and it's a pretty potent personal transformation tool. And the first time that I went through the Spiral was a long time ago, I think 7 or 8 years ago now, 2012, 2013 odd, around then. That has been something that's really helped me tremendously to be successful not only in my business but in many areas of my life. And for those that have known me for a number of years, when I was in my early mid-20s and kind of growing and scaling my business, I was like very much the tech guy, the business guy, and that was like my kind of track. I credit the Spiral for really opening me up to other dynamics and other areas of my life. So that being, more practice around spirituality and my own personal ritual practice, opening up areas of sexuality. Hey, Beth. Opening up and exploring into the pathways of Tantra, opening up and working through childhood repatterning and all those kind of things, and then going and repairing relationships with parents and family and friends. I went on a big body journey as well. I shed like nearly 45 kilos, which was wild in 3 odd years ago. Shed that in 6 months. So a Spiral's been a big part of those developments of me as a human and as a person. So what is the Spiral? What is this thing called the Spiral? Well, Dane, over 10 years ago now, created this personal development transformational modality, and it's pretty damn special. If you imagine when Steve Jobs created the iPhone, he took a PDA, the internet connectivity of a computer, which wasn't really the norm on phones, and obviously, telephone was in there as well, and also a music player, and put them all into one magical device, which spurred the wave of now what is ubiquitous in our daily lives, which is handheld mobile phones, smartphones, which allow us to get more done. And Dane's kind of done that with personal development. And so what the Spiral is a mixture of a lot of different modalities and influences, all in a really potent cocktail for transformation and development. Now, it's a mix of things like NLP, kinesiology, chakra line clearing. It uses frameworks of spiral dynamics, which is what it's based on, levels of consciousness, and all of these are mixed together in a really potent 45-minute session over a series of weeks. So a series of 8 weeks is the journey of going through the Spiral, which you'll be taken through with a certified Spiral practitioner, and they will actually take you on that journey. Hey, Roscoe, how you doing? Thanks, man. Good to see you, dude. And so that process of transformation, not only is that an amazing personal development tool to allow you to basically like clear the emotional blockages between you and being the highest vibration of yourself or the fullest expression of yourself. But it's also something that can, and we've got to be very careful about promises around healing here, but it's also something that can repattern things like, repressed childhood memories, ancestral type, blockages that might be stopping you from, living the life that you want to live and being the fullest, most harmonious expression of yourself. And so it's a really, really amazing tool. And so this tool, Dane, has turned into a business in that he's taught practitioners in how to deliver the spiral. There's now about 300 certified practitioners, which is pretty amazing. It's a whole thing. The Spiral Institute, the Spiral School, is a school for healers and coaches and other people to become practitioners in this amazing work of the spiral. And I met Dane like a long time ago. We met in a sales training. And we were like it was in Gulliver and Leela's sales training, and we were like the star students. We were the ones who were being loud. Hey, Ben, good to see you, man. We were the ones like being loud at the front of the class and kind of like riffing off each other. And I'm like, who is this guy? He's another tall guy, like I'm over 6 foot. So anytime I see another tall dude, I like, kind of give him a little wink. Anyway, met Dane, and we kind of became internet friends because he's one to really share a lot of his journey of awakening and his journey of his own development of his self online and very publicly, which I have always admired so much, how vulnerably he shares publicly where he's at and the journey that he's on. So we kind of stayed internet friends. I went through the spiral first in 2013, which was like in someone's bedroom in Bondi, and it was like $100 at the time, and Dane was still kind of like figuring out the system, right? And since then, I've been through again about 3 years ago, which was immediately preceding me losing all the weight that I lost. And then last year I actually went through with Zephyria as well, which was pretty damn cool. And each time I've been through the spiral, it's kind of like it's opened up new ways of me self-identifying through releasing blockages in my body. And so what I forgot to mention was part of the spiral is a very embodied process, like Chinese medicine meridian points, which will actually to help release emotions and release energy from different parts of the body. So it's quite an embodied process. So I went through a number of times, and each time it's had really big shifts in how I identify, and really big shifts in me giving myself permission to live in certain ways, to be certain ways. Am I okay with the identification of being a millionaire? Am I okay with having the business and the life that I deserve? Am I okay with identifying with my spirituality and my sexuality and the ways that are going to be the fullest expression of Pete, whatever that is for me on my terms? Am I okay with that, rather than self-sabotaging, rather than every time I earn money spending it immediately, rather than seeking unhealthy relationships ongoing? This tool has been something that's really contributed to big shifts for me. So I'm very passionate about the work. So over the last couple of years, like I've had this time freedom and this location freedom, and IT Genius has been like really pumping and going really well. And I've been able to spend more time developing other areas of my life, my body, my practice and other things. And so I started kind of like thinking like, well, what's the next decade for me? Like I got to 30, I met my financial goals. I haven't like jumped into the family project just yet. But for me, I looked at my next 10 years and I'm like, all right, well, what can I do next? Like I've built a successful business and I will continue to build that business. And also I had the sense that, well, maybe there's someone else's business or something else that's really good for the world that I might be able to contribute to. And I've spent kind of a couple of years sitting with that, kind of pondering what that might look like. I think it's a responsibility of those who accumulate wealth and influence to look at, okay, well, how might that be used to shape and support the world? And so I've really been sitting with that over the past couple of years of, okay, I've looked after Pete's needs now in excess. I have everything that I need and pretty much everything that I've ever dreamed of now. And so, well, what is my responsibility for how I might support and contribute to the world? And I was just kind of sitting with, well, maybe there's someone out there who's got a really good idea for something that's life-changing, and I can bring my skills to that. My skills of building businesses, my skills of leading teams, my skills of leading people and coaching people. And it was completely like kind of wild how this happened. I saw a post from Dane on his public Facebook saying, hey, the Spiral School's being shut down because he'd reached his point as the founder of the business where he was no longer interested or capable in scaling the business as an entity to where it could actually go in its fullest potential. And I got on the phone. I'm pretty good at buying businesses, and I said, dude, like, you can't shut this thing down. It's mainly because it's been so personally rewarding to me. I was like, hey, what needs to happen here with this business for the Spiral to continue and for the business to continue? Dane kind of let me know what the situation was with the business. I formulated a plan and pitched that to him on how the business may be resurrected and rebirthed in a new model, and for it to, how it might look for it to be successful. I'm pretty good at looking at businesses and helping them to find ways for them to be successful. And so that's the plan that we hashed out. I said, okay, well, look, I'll buy in, I'll buy the business. Dane has stayed on, Zephyria stayed on. There's an amazing team of the business that have stayed on. All the practitioners are obviously still there to be supported as well. It's pretty damn exciting what we put together. I put my hand up to step in as like an interim CEO for a couple of months and establish the team until we can bring on the kind of people that can run the business without Pete needing to run it day to day. But I'm really excited with what's happening with the business and with the community of practitioners at the moment. So that's kind of where things are at. That's why I've bought the business and I've become a part of the business. I'm really passionate about the work and I'm passionate about sharing the work. It's a pretty cool journey that I'm enjoying being a part of. I thought I'd just kind of share this publicly so everyone gets a bit of an idea of why I'm there. If you're interested in the Spiral itself, or at least interested in the work, I'd recommend you head along to thespiral.com. There's actually a free course called Clear Your Shit, and that is basically teaching you the tools, the emotional clearing tools that are used in the Spiral, where you can actually use that for some basic emotional clearing in yourself. So you'll learn the embodiment practices, you'll learn the meridian points that you can use, you'll learn some of the frameworks around the statements that you can use and the kind of things that you can clear for yourself. So if you're interested in doing that, head along to thespiral.com. And I want to make an offer for someone who is interested in going through the process of the Spiral. If it's you or it's someone that you know that is interested in actually going through the process, and right now, perhaps whether you've been affected by COVID and your job type situations changed, or for whatever reason it's not financially accessible to you right now, I'd like to actually give that to someone. And so if you're interested in that, I might drop a Google form or something like this, like that below here. I'd like to actually gift that to someone and gift someone going through the Spiral with one of the practitioners in the community. So if that's you, or if that's someone that you know that's interested, or maybe someone you know who's been interested in going through it, but the finances just aren't working out for you right now, then I'd like to gift that. Typically, a practitioner will charge somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000 to $10,000 for going through the process. It's quite an intense process. The practitioners bring a lot of love to that and a lot of their energy to that as well. And so if you know someone who's interested in transformation and would like to give it a go, then I would love to gift that. But thanks for listening until the end. And if you have questions, drop them below. Most of my energy right now is actually going into the business, so there probably won't be that much more that I'll share publicly, but over time, there'll be bits and pieces that are happening. So if you haven't already, go and follow the Spiral School of Awakening Facebook page. There's an Instagram account as well. I recommend you follow those, check out any updates. We'll have some exciting stuff happening over the next year. And until next time, I'll see you all soon.